Hello everybody and welcome to today's office hours. I'm looking forward to answering all your questions today. If you haven't met me before, my name's Heather Murdoch. I'm part of the Access Now Success team. The way these office hours or live learning sessions work is that if you take a look at your YouTube video and you're watching this live, you can put all your questions in the comments and I'll answer them just as soon as I can. I go through them in the order that they come in, so please do answer them as please do ask your questions just as soon as you can, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Hi Mohammed, welcome to today's session. So the questions that you can ask today is anything about Ezoic, anything about the wider publishing space, anything about your data, or just questions or concerns that you do have. Where I can't answer the questions directly, I will make sure that you've got those next steps so that you do know where to go to get answers to your query. So as always, I do like to share these blogs with all of you folks. I find them so useful to be able to share all the different knowledge that we have here at Ezoic to be able to grow your business. Our latest one is about mediation. So this takes you through how by having mediation set up, you can increase your revenue faster. So do take a look at that. If you haven't already got mediation set up on your site, it's definitely worth taking a few minutes to kind of get that process done. Hi Noam, no shame, welcome to today. Hi Vacation Vibes, welcome. And then one other thing that I just wanted to draw to your attention as well is if you are an Access Now publisher and you have moved on from being with the onboarding team, do take a look at your levels dashboard and the news feed today. There is a survey that goes out once a quarter where we look for your feedback, try to understand sort of where we are in terms of meeting your expectations and any feedback that you would like to give us that would help us to support you better. We read through every single survey and we make sure that the feedback that you give gets to the right department. So if you do have a few minutes, it can just take sort of less than 5 minutes to do. We'd really appreciate your time on that, and we will take a look at all of the responses that we get. Okay, so we're just waiting for our first question to come in. If you do have any questions about Ezoic or the wider publishing space, do let me know. In terms of the time, I always put aside 1 hour on a Wednesday morning to be able to help you folks. But I do finish these sessions early if no questions come in. This way, I can then help out on community or tickets and make sure that I get answers back to everybody just as soon as we can. Okay, so just while we're waiting for the first question to come in, one of the other articles that I wanted to share with you today is about why ad rates are so low in Q4 2022 and also Q1 2023 as well. If you haven't read through this article, it's worth taking a look at it. It does get updated regularly by the team with where we're at in terms of ad rates and the expectations of what Ezoic thinks sort of the next steps are going to be. There is some good news in terms of the ad rates as well. Ad spending is not as low as originally we thought it was going to be, and that's partly coming from some major brands based in the US, such as Kraft Heinz, Unilever and Procter & Gamble, that they're actually increasing their ad spend in 2023 because they're realizing that the economy is on such a roller coaster at the moment since COVID that it's not possible to just pull advertising back every time it takes a dip. That's not going to be a way that they're going to be able to sustainably grow their business. And so they are actually putting more money into advertising and are raising their prices of their products instead, in the belief that shoppers will pay for those additional services and products. Obviously, as a business owner, in some ways this is good news, but also as a consumer, it's also bad news in terms of everybody's struggling, aren't they, at the moment with the rising prices. So double-edged coin, that one for sure, but worth taking a look at that. I'll pop that one into the chat as well for you, just in case you haven't got visibility of that one. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions that have come in, so I'll move over to the questions now. So No Aim No Shame has said vignette ads are not functioning properly. Instead of only appearing when user clicks on a new page, they appear as the user comes to the site, which basically makes it a pop-up. Oh, that's really interesting. I'm not aware of any issues with vignette ads, No Aim No Shame. I think with some of the sites, if the vignette ads are performing really well for publishers, what's happening is when a reader clicks on the privacy policy to close that down, a vignette ad will show, and this is because of how well vignette ads are doing at the moment. Obviously, as we've just been talking, some advertisers are putting more money actually into advertising spend, but what they're wanting to do is making sure that those ads are being seen. Vignette ads, because of the sort of takeover of the page that they do, are guaranteed to be seen by readers, and so vignette ads are becoming more and more popular in terms of a vignette ad in terms of an ad type by advertisers because of that visibility factor. So it's worth taking a look at that and seeing where the pop-up occurs. Does it occur as soon as your site loads, or does it occur when you click on the privacy policy? If it loads up as soon as your site loads, so that's the first thing your readers are seeing, do reach out to us and we can take a look at that for you, find out what's going on. You can either reach out into community if you're Access Now publisher, or if you're level 1 and higher, do reach out to our tech support team, either through live chat or through the ticket function, and click I need a quick technical support, and the team can troubleshoot that for you and find out what's happening there for you. So No Aim No Shame has said it occurs right after you click the privacy policies. Okay, so that's in line with expectations of at the moment in terms of how well vignette ads are doing. If you don't want that on your site, if you reach out to us, we can look at switching that functionality off for you. It's important to remember though that this will be impacting your EPMV, not only from that advertiser not placing an ad in that particular space, but it might be that they don't then place it in another place on your website because of their advertising goals. They might be looking for maximum visibility, but have a think about what's best for you and what you would like to have on your site, and then reach out to us and we can go from there. So Matthews Hoto, hi Matthews, welcome to today. Thank you for joining me. Has said, hi Heather, about mediation. I enabled mediation, but the performance in terms of revenue hasn't been that good. Ezoic and Premium is earning way more than the mediation. Should I turn it off? No, please don't turn it off, because what's happening is your premium ad earnings are meaning that AdSense can't outbeat the majority of the advertisers, and that's what we expect with being a premium publisher. And those premium ads, they're there because there's certain niches of traffic that are coming to your site that those advertisers really want to target and are willing to pay more to place ads on your website. What the mediation earning is doing is any readers that aren't getting those premium ads or aren't getting sort of a full page of premium ads, and there's a gap where AdSense can outbid other advertisers to place ads on your site, that's when the mediation earning is kicking in. So if you switch it off, you're going to be losing that mediation earning and revenue from your site, and there'll be no upsides to switching that mediation off. What I would recommend doing, Matthews, is take a look at your Ezoic dashboard. Just make sure you haven't got any restrictions on your site. If you have got restrictions such as things like max ads per page, or you've restricted the number of categories, just review those to make sure that they're still in line with your business goals, and also take a look at the different ad types you've got on your site. It may be that you've got certain ad types switched off that you now feel more comfortable to switch those on, and that might help with your overall mediation earnings as well. So no aim, no shame, and said, thank you, Heather. No problem. You're so welcome. Thank you for your question and joining me today. So Tasha said, hi, good morning. I recently switched integration via Cloudflare. So do I still benefit from the security perks of Ezoic Cloud? If so, how does it protect my site? Tash, that's a really good question. For myself, I don't get involved much in the integration aspect of sites or the security side of the CDNs and things like that. What I would recommend doing with that one is if you're a Access Now publisher, reach out to us in community. If you're a level 1 or higher, reach out to our tech team. What they'll be able to do is they're specially trained in integration and security aspect around Ezoic Cloud and Ezoic CDN, and they'll be able to give you very specific examples of how your site is being protected by using the Cloudflare and the CDN together. I do know in terms of the way our integration works that we always do recommend Cloudflare or name servers, and they give about equal protection and equal performance around being part of Ezoic. So by having Cloudflare, you're not going to be missing out, if you'd gone to name servers. So they're going to be on par with each other, but our tech team will be able to look into your specific site setup and be able to advise you what you're getting and to go from there. Okay, so that's all the questions that we've got so far. Thank you for the questions that you've asked so far. What I'll do is I'll stay on the line for another few minutes just to see if any more questions come in, and if not, I'll close the session for today. Like I say, if you're an Access Now publisher, please do take a look at your levels dashboard and the newsfeed section where the Access Now quarterly survey has gone out to you folks. We'd really love to hear from you. I know you're all really busy with everything that you're juggling, but if you do have 5 minutes to let us know how you're feeling about Ezoic at the moment and any specific feedback that you've got, we'd love to hear from you. We do make sure that the feedback goes to the relevant teams, and then they take that into consideration with their goals for each quarter coming up. Okay, so just while we're waiting, Tash has asked a question. Thank you, Tash. So Tash has said, all right, another question. What's a good typical bounce rate based on big data analytics? That's a really good question. It's really interesting bounce rates because they do depend on the niche of site that you have, and also the way you're getting traffic to your site. So say, for example, you're a site that's about sort of general knowledge, and you answer the question right at the top because that's the way your niche works is that people are looking for the answer. They just want to know the answer to that specific question, and then they leave. The bounce rate for your site is going to be higher than, for example, a site that's a very in-depth article about how to, say, code a website, and people need to read through it right to the bottom. The way Ezoic works is that we track bounce rates differently to Google Analytics, because we understand that every niche is different, and what readers are seeing as successful in terms of getting the information that they need is different from one niche to another. So, for example, in that general knowledge site, as long as your readers stay on the website page for more than 30 seconds, we count that as a success, because they've been able to get the information that they need. That's why it's really important with any website to ensure that you have really great navigation and are able to put additional articles in there to interlink one article to another. It's really great from an SEO point of view to have those interlinking articles set up, but also from a time on site point of view, and to help reduce your bounce rate down. It's important that you're able to either keep your readers on that particular website page for at least 30 seconds, or are able to keep readers on your whole website for at least 30 seconds and go to a secondary page. As soon as somebody goes to a secondary page, no matter how long they spend on there, that isn't counted as a bounce, because they've got their information from one website page and then have clicked in and gone to another website page. So from that, what we recommend doing is just taking a look at your website in particular and the bounce rate that it's getting. You can drill down into your bounce rate by setting up segments at the top of your website page to filter your traffic by, say, Google, or if you've got a newsletter, or if you do quite a lot of social media traffic, you can also add that in there as well. So you can see how each different segment of traffic coming to your site is performing as well. And by going to your landing pages report by all users, you can also see which of the pages that are getting the highest bounce rate. Now, when you look at this, it's really important to ask yourself the question of, is it expected that somebody's going to be on that website page just for a moment or two, or would we expect them to go deeper into the site and spend longer on there as well? If it's absolutely to be expected that they're we just go to that website page, get the information and leave, then it might be that bounce rate, even though it's higher, might be typical for your niche. And what we'd recommend doing then is taking a look at where you give the answer to the question, and making sure that there's interlinking, so that you're saying to readers, oh, you found this really interesting, here's another article that you might find interesting as well, and making that title enticing, so that they then go into that secondary page as well. Where you need to sort of worry or be concerned about your bounce rate is around a sudden change in your bounce rate. So it's suddenly going up. It might be that is indicating that there's issues with your site and your readers accessing the information in there. Or it might be that what's happening is you've changed the way you're marketing your site, you've changed the way you're doing the SEO for your site, and that's then impacting the way readers are understanding your site. So they come to your site thinking, oh, I'm going to get this piece of information, when actually they found that when they get there, it's not clear where that information is, or they think they're in the wrong place, so they leave your site much quicker than what you would expect them to do. If you're finding that your bounce rate is steeply increasing, then what I would recommend doing is taking a look at Tag Tester, which will then help you to A/B test. It's bit more complicated than that, but in a simpler form, help you to A/B test your title tags. I'd also recommend looking at any changes you've recently done in your marketing campaigns that could be leading readers to your site for just a short amount of time, and then also take a look at the type of content you're creating. It might have been that you've been more recently creating more short form articles that readers are just going to get the answer to their question and then leave again. And by switching to more long form articles or more in-depth articles, you're then going to be able to reduce that bounce rate down. It's really important not to sort of just look at one figure of bounce rate and think, oh, that's a bad bounce rate. Something must be going wrong. It's about doing that in-depth analysis to be able to understand, okay, my bounce rate's increasing. Why is it increasing? And then work your way back to be able to find out the core reason of that, and be able to either find a solution if it needs a solution, or to be able to add in additional content that's perhaps going to balance out your bounce rate, where you might have some content that's quite short form and is going to naturally have a higher bounce rate, but the rest of your content might be quite long form. So that's going to balance out your overall site's bounce rate. So Tash, I hope that helps. If you do have any more questions, please do let me know. Okay, so just while we're waiting for any more questions to come in, I'll stay on the call until another couple of moments, just in case we do have any more questions. And then if not, I'll close the call for today, so I can go and answer questions in community and reply to publishers on tickets. While we're just seeing if any more questions do come in, another article that I wanted to share with you is about the top 5 highest earning ad units and how they affect their site revenue. So it's worth taking a look at that. It helps you to understand in depth why we recommend different ad units on your site and how they can have a positive impact on your revenue as well. So Tasha said, thanks, Heather. That was really insightful. You're so welcome. No problem at all. Thank you for your question today. Okay, so I'll pop this link into the chat here, just so you've got that for later. When you do have some time to work on your site, it's worth taking a look just to make sure that you have all these different ad units and ad units by size on your website. Obviously, some of them aren't going to be relevant if you've got a site where it just doesn't fit in that particular ad size because of the content width or the width of the website. And obviously you need to keep those switched off so that you're not having ads that are overlapping content. What we would recommend as well is with this is when you're checking out your ad units, obviously something like an anchor ad and vignette ads, that's going to be most likely site wide. It's either going to be on or off. But things like top of the page, under page title, start looking at your pages that bring you the most traffic, because obviously by default, in theory, those should be the pages that are also bringing you the most revenue. And if you haven't got these higher revenue ad placeholders on your website page, this might be the reason why your EPMV isn't in line with what you would like it to be, and your revenue isn't growing. And just by adding these ad placeholder sizes into those top pages, you might find that it makes a big difference. So Matthew Zoto has said, that article is great, implemented the requirements, and my revenue has been amazing. Thank you so much for feeding that back. It's always fantastic for us to hear that the information that we give out has resulted in higher revenue. And also, I think one of the benefits of these live sessions is that we can learn from each other. And so it's nice to be able to hear that that's happened to your site, and hopefully everyone else on the call will be encouraged by that and try it out as well. I can certainly understand, being a publisher, in terms of the volume of work that you've got to do and everything else that you're juggling, you want to make sure that you're spending your time in the right places. So having that feedback, Matthews, is really useful. Thank you so much. Okay, so we don't have any more questions that have come in today, so I'll close the call. I just wanted to thank you all so much for joining me today and the questions that you've asked. We've got another live session next Wednesday at 9 a.m. GMT, and I look forward to spending more time with you then. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.